You're back in with Northwestern Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. For Outdoors News today, we need to tell you about salmon fishing restrictions up and down the Pacific coast, and we're going to start with British Columbia. We're talking to Chad Calder. He's a longtime sponsor of the show and the owner of Chad's Coastwide Sports Fishing out of Port Hardy at the north end of Vancouver Island. Chad, great to have you on the show.
Yeah, it's great to have a chance to talk to you this morning, John.
So, Chad, I just saw the information from Fisheries and Oceans Canada a few days ago. They're addressing declining Chinook numbers in the Fraser River, where 12 out of 13 different Chinook stocks are in real trouble. The way they plan on doing this is by restricting ocean fishing this year. So commercial fishing is closed until August. For recreational anglers on basically the south end of Vancouver Island, there's no retention to either mid-July or late July, depending on where you're going to be. And then only one fish to August 29th. West end of Vancouver Island offshore, no retention until July 14th. After that, you can keep two fish. And on the east end of Vancouver Island to the mainland, there's no retention of Chinook till July 14th, and then only one Chinook after that. But what about you at the north end of Vancouver Island? Can we still keep two Chinook up there all season long or not?
So, John, there's a bit of a misconception when it comes to our area. Our base and our location is Area 12, which is on the maps and on the website is a non-retention area till July 15th for Chinook. But our company and a few other companies, we don't fish Area 12 very often. We fish areas 10 and 11. We catch about 85 to 90% of our fish in Area 10 and 11, our Chinook species, and it is still open to 2-a-day retention and take-home for. So nothing has really changed for us. We're still open for business, and we're still able to fish areas that we can keep a 2 retention a day.
That's the Chinook. What about the coho? Are we also looking at 2 a day there as well?
We are, yeah. So the coho fishery hasn't changed at all. The restrictions along the coast are status quo. Those haven't changed. So our retention is still the same as it's always been.
Folks, this is really big news because as you're going to hear, there's restrictions as well in Puget Sound, lots of restrictions in the Columbia River. I mean, it's going to be a tough year if you want to come home with a cooler full of salmon. But as you just heard, the north end of Vancouver Island out of Port Hardy, this is one place where you can still do it. Let's talk halibut. I understand there's been talk of some new regulations regarding halibut possession. Is that true or not?
There is, yeah. So this year, it's changed a little bit, John. Whenever you traveled to Canada, no matter where you fished, you were always allowed 1 a day and 2 in possession. So that still reigns true. That hasn't changed, except that this year they've come up with a hybrid solution. So the lower end size limit is that if you take home 1 fish and not 2, they're allowing you to keep a larger fish. And that size is 126 centimeters, so that's going to be about a 60-pound fish. So it's opened up a lot of opportunities for us that way. We're not necessarily looking for 2 little fish. We're looking for 1 decent one, if the client so wishes.
Interesting. Okay, so bottom line is, you catch the right fish, you're bringing home a whole bunch more halibut, aren't you?
That's correct. It's really enabled us to be able to keep the larger of the halibut for our clients, which they would normally want, and then we're not spending a bunch of time looking around for another smaller little fish. So it's going to work good, and it's nice that people have an option. I think it's just a better solution all in all.
And we shouldn't forget the bottom fish. You've got plenty of rockfish and plenty of lingcod out there too.
Yep, and our limits are all the same. Nothing's changed that way, and our lingcod is open, and the possession limits are the same as years past. So the regulations with the Chinook fishery up and down the coast, it's been pretty detrimental to a lot of small communities. Port Hardy is one, but with the exclusion of areas 10 and 11 from the restrictions, it's helped us out immensely. So we're business as usual.
So the bottom line is this, folks. If you're looking for a diamond in this rough salmon season this year, especially this summer, Port Hardy is the place to go, and Coastwide Sports Fishing is probably the company to contact. But having said that, do you have any openings left?
We have a few dates available. They're sort of spread out throughout the summer. We never had any cancellations with the new regulations because the majority of people know where we fish, so they knew that the regulations weren't going to affect them. And so we have some early June, mid-June fishery still available, which is an incredible Chinook fishery, and lots of bottom fish around that time of year.
Okay, so here's the deal, folks. If you want to get a chance at taking home some Chinook, you still have some opportunities. The website to go to is coastwidesportsfishing.com. And let me briefly tell you how this works. You get yourself up to Port Hardy, BC. It's an easy drive from most parts of the greater Northwest. Once you're there, Chad's going to put you up in a hotel, waterfront hotel, right next to the marina. The next morning, you go ahead and hop on one of his boats. Breakfast is taken care of on board. Lunch is taken care of on board. When you get back, you've got a diner's card. You can use at one of several restaurants in town. Order anything you want. It's billed to Coastwide Sports Fishing, and all of your fish cleaning is taken care of and processing too, so you are ready to head back over the border with no problems at all. Better still, the exchange rate is good, and the price is even better. But as you just heard, you better hurry. The website, coastwidesportsfishing.com. That's coastwidesportsfishing.com. This might be your best chance to bring home a cooler full of halibut, Chinook, coho, and bottom fish this summer. Chad, thanks as always.
Thanks very much, John, and hope to see a lot of you guys up here this summer.
I know I'm looking forward to it.